A while back, I made a video about Pikkit sports bet tracking. It's time to update it because they've added a bunch of different things. Let's check it out. Welcome to The Advantage. I'm A-Train Bets, and I use my brain to make bets. In this video, we're going to cover Pikkit. Pikkit is a sports bet tracking application that shows you various aspects of your sports betting activity. What's cool is it can bring information from a bunch of different sports books all together in one app that allows you to look at your trends, look at how you've performed, your wins and losses, and allows you to share your picks with other people and follow others and get their picks as well. There's a lot of functionality. There's a lot going on in the application. There's some absolute pros and there's some absolute cons with this particular software. So I'm going to outline it for you and give you a sense of what you might be getting into if you're going to go to Pikkit. Okay. First, Pikkit is a phone app only unless you get the paid pro membership, which I do not do. If you do the phone app only, it is free. There's some heavy limitations to what you can do with it, but you can certainly upgrade if that is something that you are interested in doing. I've used Pikkit for years, and I find that it is a useful tool, but I may also be sunsetting my own usage of it. This is probably the last update you're going to see from me about Pikkit because I will probably be tracking my personal performance separately. Okay, we will cover that separately in another video of how I will be doing that. But for now, this is what I'm using as my kind of day-to-day performance tracking. So when you get into the Pikkit application on your phone, you'll see today I've done a little bit of betting, not a lot going on, got limited on a few plays, but you can go in and this is kind of the first thing that you see at the top of your page. You see notifications, you can see if there's any issues with your syncing or whatever. Now, the first thing you're going to do before you even get to this page, you're going to actually have to set up your sports books. So if you see your accounts, I have a whole bunch of different accounts that I have managed. I am in Illinois, and so I've got a bunch of different books. I have accounts at literally every place I can bet at in Illinois legally. And so I set them all up. Some work better than others in terms of the frequency of syncing. Some are kind of annoying because things like Hard Rock or Fliff will make you do multi-factor authentication a lot of the time. And a lot of times things will go down or have issues, some of which you can deal with, some of which you can't. Like right now, there's a multi-factor authentication error with Hard Rock. It's something that I can go and fix and then it'll start syncing again. Fine. But you get a lot of little nagging with it. It's fine. The plus is that it brings together all of the information from all these different sports books. The downside is you're sharing information with all these sports books. They know, hey, your account is connected to Pikkit. Sometimes for sharp sports bettors, you don't necessarily want to let the books know that you're doing things like, I don't know, using a sports betting tracking application that might help you bet better. They don't want you to be betting better. So just recognize there's a risk. I find that risk worthwhile in terms of, at least up till now, linking my sports betting accounts with Pikkit, but that information is being shared. Now, you're going to want to dig into the terms and conditions of what information exactly they share or not. This is more about understanding the functionality of the application, but it is something to be cognizant of. And quite frankly, it's one of the reasons that I'll probably be moving on is that I can track my betting activity in other ways without sharing all of that information with all of the sports books. Okay, so if you get in here, let's go back to that first page. So at that, you hit the home button on the bottom there. You'll see today, yesterday, tomorrow. So yesterday, light day yesterday, made some bets, kind of upsy downsy, but you can see your summary. We use the summary all the time. I'm always checking it. I'm probably watching this more than I should. And quite frankly, I find myself sweating my bets a lot during this, but you can see my activity yesterday. Plays. I do all of these on my live stream. None of this is a secret, but you can see this is where we're tracking, and you can see as it goes through the actual activity for the day, and it does a decent job of letting you know where that bet that stands before it closes out. And then it will wait to see what the book does, and then it syncs back. So when it finally closes and goes to the settled tab, you'll know that the book has actually settled that bet, which is convenient. It's nice to know that. So you can see the green ones are wins, the red ones are losses, the zeros are push, or the grays are push. And you can see all of the stuff kind of come in. What's nice here too is, and I find this especially useful, I really like how they do this, but it's the games here. So you can see the games, and when I'm watching a particular game, like maybe I'm watching Miami, Tennessee, you can go in and see how the game's progressing. You can see different betting information. You can track your bets on that particular game. This one I only had one bet on, but I can see how that's going. So if I flip the game on, I immediately know what action I have, and that's pretty useful. And so you can see how you did on each of the games for a particular day. It's all pretty well done from that perspective. I really like the in the same day kind of bet tracking, although I find myself obsessing about it a little more than I should. So that's something too. But you can see your return on investment, your profit loss, your record. It's all fine. So that's on that basis. You can see what you have coming up today, tomorrow. It's all good. And then there's some other stuff. You can see your history on the week. You can look at some offers and stuff. I think there's a little bit more ads going on now than there used to be, but such is life. And so we've got that going on. You can see different things down here, referring friends, discover the year in review stuff. Some of this stuff is more useful than others. You've got this whole social feed as well. I don't do too much with the social feed personally. I don't really care about following other people's picks or what have you. I think there's a lot of the same kind of nonsense you'll get on X, but if that's something that you're interested, you can certainly follow some people. You can follow me, A-Train Bets, and see some of my picks, watch how I'm doing, all of that. But honestly, I think that the beauty of sports betting is to actually be in the game making the decisions. Tailing people's picks, not really for me, but a lot of people like doing that. You can see different offers. I don't really use this page too often. I really have all of the books already, but you can explore some of that. Again, a little bit salesy for my taste. See who you're following. Got some friends back from my Odds Jam days that I follow. See the event reaction. Don't use that too much either. Advertisement for getting pro. I'm not even going to go to that tab. This is a place where I spend a lot of my time too, is just seeing where things stand. I really like that I can see the cash balances that I have across the different books. I can see how much money I have at risk in play for different things. It's all pretty useful from that perspective, and it has some information. Now, some complaints that I have about the interface is that I don't understand why they've laid it out this way. I mean, why would I have my daily information over here, which is really key, and then go over here for the summary information? It's all a little bit weird to me, but you can find it eventually. Closing line value, if you're not familiar with it, I have videos that talk about closing line value. It's important. What I don't like about the particular way that Pikkit does closing line value is that I have no idea what they're using to calculate closing line value. It's just kind of out there. You can look at it for yesterday. You can look at it for today. There's nothing going on yet today. And so you can see, yes, this looks good, but like at A-Train Station, we have much more clarity on how those calculations are being done. I will tend to use the A-Train Station CLV calculations because it's just far more transparent of how that's being done. This they don't really tell you. I guess in the pro side you can configure a couple of the things about which sharp books you want to use. Again, it's a little nebulous. What I also really like is you can see your results. So up, in this month, I'm up $2,000. You can look at the year. You can look and see, okay, how have I done throughout this year? I came back a little bit and I've been winning again. I really like that you can see your closing line value performance on your plus CLV bets or minus CLV bets. I don't really understand what the even CLV bets is all about. There really shouldn't be that many even CLV. Again, they don't tell me how they're calculating it, so I don't really know. I like how you can see your performance on different leagues and different books. And so you can see bet types, you can see sports books, you can see how you're doing across all of them. Again, I'm not going to show all of this information to everyone, but the key is that you can see how you're doing overall. So they've done a pretty good job of enhancing the product. I will give them credit. They're letting you see it a lot of different ways. It's free. And so for a casual bettor and you've got a few different sportsbooks accounts and you want to see how you're doing, it's a pretty useful tool from that perspective. And as you're getting going, it's definitely something that is useful to kind of bring that information together and really start to track your performance over time. And that's something that I think is really something that everyone should be doing. You definitely need to be tracking your performance in terms of your actual wins and losses, and you need to be tracking your closing line value. So I love the fact that they've started to bring in some closing line value information here. There's not a lot to actually help you bet with here, obviously, but for a bet tracking application, it's not bad. Now, if you wanted to go pro, I think that it's a little bit on the expensive side to pay $25 a month or, $300 a year to do just the analysis of your activity. It may be worth it for some. I may do it if I didn't have a software where I was using it for my strategy and my betting and all of my bet tracking. And so this is useful because it's something that people can follow you and use more socially. Again, I don't really find a lot of that useful, but from a perspective of a bettor trying to just track their performance across multiple different books and get a quick snapshot view of what your balances are, I really like that part of it. I really like the fact that I can go in and see what my balance is at all the books and how much action I have in line. If you're going to share your information with the sports books that you're using Pikkit, at least leverage the fact that they have your balance information in this app and that you can use it to know where do you need to move cash so that you are ready to be capitalized appropriately for the next round of betting that you're going to do. So I think that's really key. Again, like anything, you have to ask, well, if you're not paying for it directly, are you the customer or are you the product? That's one of the challenges that I have with it, is that I know I'm sharing data that I'd probably rather not share. And that's something that has, a negative impact on me. I think some of the organization of it is questionable. A lot of the connections can be a little bit glitchy from time to time. And some of the tracking of the individual wagers sometimes are illogical. You can already have lost and it'll still be showing green and it'll be like, you see the number there, right? There's little things like that in any kind of application, but it says something that I have an entire sports betting analytics software and I have continued to use this. And as our software is improved, at some point I'm going to go over and use that exclusively. But for now, I wanted to at least walk people through, because I'm a fairly sophisticated user in how I use Pikkit. There's quite a lot going on in the app. It is very useful. It may be overwhelming at first, but it is certainly something that you might want to step into and just connect one book or a couple books and then build from there. It's a good stepping stone to more powerful, more expensive software that will give you more detail and more transparency. But if the cost of this is to just share some data that you'd rather not share, maybe that's worth it, maybe that's not. So with that, thank you for watching this. I hopefully gave you a little bit of insight into what Pikkit is, and you can decide for yourself whether or not this is something that you want to use to track your betting activity. Certainly there are other softwares out there, but this is definitely an option that a lot of people have chosen to use. So that's what I wanted to cover today. For now, this train is leaving the station. Until next time, save the units for the bros and do your betting like the pros. We'll see you soon. Thanks.